right, today we're with Joseph Caplan again, and we're going to talk a little bit about your book, Joseph. You wrote a book. Can you tell me about it?
Yes, I'd like to. First of all, here's the book. It's called The Money Man. It's had wonderful reviews, 5-star reviews, and it's really the story of my life, but it's not so much a biography. It's a kind of a spiritual book, and it tells you about the time that I was not interested in God, and then years went by and I had successes and I had failures. And see, most people don't turn to God unless they have a problem. And if God doesn't solve the problem, their response is, well, there isn't really a God at all, or if there was a God, why would he not be interested in helping people more with their troubles? And this raises a huge discussion about our relationship with God. But to come back for a moment to the book, all the stories that I'm putting out in these segments are all in the book. And it's called The Money Man. And of course it's by me. And you can get it on Amazon and Books A Million and all kinds of places. And I hope you'll read it, because it is a combination of everything that I am saying in these 5-minute segments. Moving on from there, I'd like to talk about one or two spiritual things today for a moment, and that's this. First of all, life is more of what we do than what we say. You go to churches and places like that, and a lot of people think that they are doing well if they go to church on a Sunday. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course. It's a good thing to do. But the trouble is that we have to take the word that the pastor or whoever has given us and do something with it. And we have to live the life. Because if we don't live the life, people are not going to get anything from us. And we're still in the mood, so many of us, of taking and not giving. God has a way of telling us what we should do. We should depend upon him. We should trust in him. And we should love him for what he's done for us. And you all know the story. The story is only too clear, and that is that Jesus came to this earth and he died on a cross, and he took with him all the sins of man. Now, where we can benefit from that is by trusting him, by giving over to God, by being eager to depend upon him and surrender our life to him. The word surrender is misunderstood. It's not like being in the army and holding your arms up when the enemy point a gun at you. It's trusting and knowing and understanding that everything that comes from God is far, far superior than what can come from us. Now, I know you've got some questions for me, and so I'm going to pause there for a moment and leave it to you to ask me a couple of questions.
Well, if you have everything, why do you need God? I mean, do you think that God blesses people because they're good? Or can people be blessed and think it's from God and it's from someone else? How do we know that we're in a good relationship with God? Is it by how our life is?
That's a great question. The only way we can know that we're in a good relationship with God is when we trust him and we feel a peace from trusting him that we just don't get. Now, I've spent my life, I've been rich, I've been poor, and I remember when I had lots of money, I just assumed that everything would be all right. And that was because I had money in the bank. But things were not all right. And when things went bad, when things went against me, because I had as many failures, in fact I had more failures than I had successes, I began to realize that my relationship with God is something that I needed to work on, just like you need to work on everything else that you do in your life.
Okay, so on our next segment, you said you realized that God needed to be more important in your life. I want to talk about the next time is, what was that moment that you realized all of a sudden you start thinking about God again? And we'll do that next segment.